And we're back, guys, actually on Monday. What the heck is going on here? This is just not quite right. But anyway, we're on
Something's
time.
not right. Do we have audio?
What? I'm kidding. We're all good. Sound's working. Everything's fine. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. Hit the thumbs up button, all the follow, all that fun stuff. Really, really helps us grow this awesome channel. We'd really, really, really appreciate it. Hello, Ram. How you doing, man? Good morning. How you been going? You well?
Good morning. It's been a crazy weekend. Good weekend. Lots of stuff happened. But we won't get into that. But it's been eventful to say the least.
That's one word for it, mate. That's absolutely one word for it. Bit of a GAC weekend, or GAC week off, which has been nice. Bit of a break in GAC. It got brutal there in the end. Datacron changes, all that fun stuff. We sort of roll around again. I've got a good stack of them this time around, so it should be fun, dude. I've already got something like 230% health steal already on my Ray team before I really delve in too much. So yeah, I'm gonna have some fun with that. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, CG's blunder kind of caused this whole Datacron set to just they put it in the wrong store, and then they realized that they put it in the wrong store, and they left it there for the week. But then they didn't take it out of the wrong store, and so it's still in there, but you can buy it out of the weekly shipment. It's just like, okay, so everybody's gonna have maxed out Datacrons by the time these two conquests are over.
It's a bit of a show. Simple as that. Straight up, that's what it is. But anyway, let's dive straight into it. Let's not talk about crons because it drives people mad. Let's talk about other fun stuff. Of course, 2 parts to the video, guys. 3 topics on mine, 3 on Rams. Link will be in the description below. Tap on it. It's a drop-down menu. You'll see it. Just hit the little drop-down menu. The link's in there. Straight up. Someone was saying they couldn't find it the other day. It's just in the description. Just got to open it up. It's just there. I promise. It's just there.
Just gotta scroll.
It's just there. It's there. It's just there. Okay, let's get into it and let's talk about it. Of course, Mini-Man, we're going to start off with that one, of course, this week. And in true Mandalorian fashion, I had to pick a kinda Mando meme for this week in honor of our boy Mini, who unfortunately left us too soon. Now, of course, as you know, Ram, a lot of things in this in the Star Wars universe are taken from a certain point of view. That's the best way to put it. So I've got a certain point of view here today to run with. Pre-Vizsla was defeated by Maul. Maul was defeated by Palpatine. Palpatine defeated by Mace. Mace defeated by Palpatine. Palpatine defeated by Death Star 2. Death Star 2 was defeated by Lando and Wedge, therefore Landalorian. Enough said. Our boy Lando is Mandalorian. Make no mistake, people. Hashtag Landalorian. That's where we're at. Everything's from a certain point of view, mate. What can I say?
I mean, but that you're not wrong with all the convoluted history of the Darksaber. It's just like, okay, but
from a certain point of view,
who really actually had it?
I think we've all lost track, but we're going to talk about it in a bit of a recap as well soon. No, there will be spoilers later, but not quite yet. So let's get after it. And I thought, look, I might start this video off, Ram, today with something I don't think I've actually ever discussed on a video so far. And I mean, there's a lot of things that we do right in this game. We've been playing it obviously close to since the start, like 7 years or so since it actually cranked up. And there's been a lot of things come and go. And along the way, there are some points, Ram, that you need to make certain decisions in this game. And sometimes they're the right ones and sometimes they're the wrong ones. And you never quite know, you know, which path to follow. And I mean, it can make a big difference. So we've all had regrets in this game. And I know people are automatically going to say playing it in the first place. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about other stuff, right? I'm talking about things in game that we wish we had done different. That's what I'm covering today. And I want to talk about probably the biggest regret that I think I've made in this game, Ram, and that would be not modding hard enough early when mods were introduced. That to me is something that I wish I had have done different. It was the time when of course, the Zeta mats came out, because the Zeta mats and the mods pretty well dropped very similar to the same time, and it was a case of, okay, what I think at the time, it's a coin toss. Which one's going to give me more an advantage? And I kind of thought, oh, geez, all these bumps and abilities and stuff like that, how can they not be? So I'm going to go hard on the Zetas. And I really let the mods fall away at that time. And not until recently I realized my mistake. I've certainly been, climbing, a hill since that point. And I reckon I've spent probably the last close to 3 years, I reckon now, just really just going ham on mods and really just trying to get to a point that I should have been years ago. And Ram, I think that you agree as well, mate. You know, people quite often take mods for granted, and you just can't do that in this game, can you? You just can't.
No, you absolutely can't. I mean, even with Datacrons, mods are still of the utmost importance. Now, I will say that when we started playing, mods were hard to understand, and they still are. Let's not get that confused. They're still hard to understand, but with the UI changes and everything, and with hot utils, they've made it a lot easier to understand it and get involved with mods. So I don't think the newer players have necessarily as many problems with mods and being able to mod harder as we did when we first started. I know I had that same problem, and it, oh man, my count shows every single GAC. Every single GAC. I out Datacron, I out Relic, I out everything. And then it comes down to the mod stats, and it's just a sea of red. I mean, it's like worse than my wife on period, you know?
Dude, did you really go there? Really? Big shout out to Ram's missus, by the way. He said that, not me. I had nothing to do with this. This was not in the pre-record chat. It's all him. He can dig his own grave. I can do enough of that myself at my end. All right, that's all him, straight up. Dude, you don't go there. Anyway, so guys, I think we both agree, Ram, and I learned something really simple a couple of years ago, that if you still have credits in your account, you're not modding hard enough. I think that's probably the best measure of whether you're modding to the point that you should be in your account, and it's something that we highly recommend, Ram. Definitely.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and it all depends on what guild you're in too. Like, I mean, the top end guild, you know, Heinzie, me and you, we go through credits like crazy because we're constantly having to remod for TW, remod for territory battles, remod for GAC, both 5v5 and 3v3. And so you run through a lot of credits that way. But even if you're not in a top end guild that's doing that and mandating those changes, you should still maybe maybe 20 to 40 mil at most credits. Yeah,
easy. I mean, this is the thing. You still need them for TB rewards, right? You still need them for good raid results. You still need the really good mods for that. Make no mistake. Territory war, it's a no-brainer. If you got the right mods on your account, you can smash teams. And let alone GAC. If you go up against an opponent, and I've been up against an opponent where now these days I've got like almost just under 100 plus 25 mods. I went up against a guy that had about 25 the other day. Well, I mean, you're in a great position to get that win and get those crystals, which are so bloody important in this game. So the benefits are across the board. And don't forget, of course, that a lot of the Datacrons that we get these days, of course, are quite dependent on the stats that your character has. So the better mods you've got, the more benefit those Datacrons are going to have as well, if you're investing in those. So there are just so many different things that mods are attached to that I actually mucked up. Probably the only other regret that I've got as well, Ram, is that when Galactic Legends first came out, they came out in pairs, and they came out in pairs, and it was like, okay, you can either have Ray or you can have SLKR. They were the two first ones that ever dropped in this game, the Force Dyad, right? The two of them dropped at the same time. There were no actually kit reveals at the time when they were announced. And you kind of had to make the decision because, of course, you had to get all the prerequisites. You had to get, Resistance Hero Finn and Poe at the time, and, or you had to focus harder on First Order so that you could, obviously unlock the event. And you really had to make a decision which way you wanted to go, whether you were going to go Ray direction or whether you were going to go SLKR. That's the way it was back then. It's totally different now because they're released separately. So you don't have that choice to make. They're released, one by one. I chose Ray, and I wish I had done SLKR. I really do. That really hurt me. Ray was great. Whirlwind was awesome. It was fantastic. But SLKR is just pure damage output. God, I wish I had that sooner. But yeah, that was probably the only other thing I can think of that I really wish I had done different, Ram. Is there something that you regret that you had done better or different back in the day, or anything sort of stand out in your mind?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I wish I didn't chase the meta so much.
Okay, yeah.
Just chasing the meta. Metas, especially when Squad Arena was still a major factor for Crystal income. you'd go through 6 months to a year or so period of this team is the top team in Squad Arena, this team's the top team in GAC, this team's the top team in TW, whatever. And they would always release these, and I'd go hard on that team, and then I would just kind of wait until the next meta was to come out,
Mm.
and then I chase that one, and then I wait, and then I chase that one, and I put a lot of side projects that I should have worked on. I put a lot of side projects on hold. Ahsoka Tano Fulcrum, I've always wanted to farm her up, but I kept putting on her hold because I kept chasing that meta, trying to maintain that top of the GAC, and I should have just gone in and relic these guys, because obviously we didn't know at the time that Datacrons were going to be a thing, and that they would eventually start releasing these characters with these Datacrons that would just bump them right on up. And so, if I had Ahsoka Tano Fulcrum, for instance, I'd have that Datacron now instead of her being stuck at gear 12, and I just don't have the gear now to take her up. And it's just, there's a lot of characters that are sitting bottom of my roster that rightfully don't belong there.
Yeah, and that's fair enough too. That's fair enough. So, yeah, it's a really full-on situation. I mean, I couldn't disagree more. I think that certainly there are things that I, meta-wise, I chased it harder than anyone. I mean, that was just what I did back then. And I mean, I kind of still play the game that way. It's just that we're not doing it in Squad Arena. It's just different scenarios and different game modes. But yeah. Do I wish that I had a wild as hard as I did? That's a good question. There's certainly things that I wish I hadn't have gone so hard on. I think that makes sense. I think if I had, I wish there were certain characters now that I wish I probably would have waited for the shipments to come out and just got them on the weekly shipments instead of going so hard on the packs when they first dropped. Because I used to be a pack fiend. I mean, that's just the way I played it. So there are certainly, characters and stuff that I look back now and going, geez, that was a waste. Probably didn't need to do that. So yeah, certainly. I think that's probably the only other thing that I can think of as well. So anyway, let us know in the comments below what you guys think with your biggest regrets. It's a really, really interesting thought. I hadn't thought about it until the other day, and I thought, oh, gee, I wish I had done a few things.
Here's another big regret of mine. I this was always kind of shoved at me just a little bit. It annoys me. My first ever Zeta was Darth Nihilus Lead. Ask me how many uses I've actually gotten out of that leadership Zeta.
Oh, you got a point.
I didn't even know what Zetas were. I just, I knew about as much as Zetas as I do what Tuskens do,
Yeah. Does he need an Omicron? Probably does, doesn't he? I mean, I know Trey's got
absolutely.
One, yeah, I think it'd be cool for Nihilus to have one. I'd like to use Nihilus Lead a lot more. I reckon that'd be really fun. Everyone loves that.
Give him a TW Omicron, so you kind of, you have Trey in GAC, and you have TW with the Nihilus.
Okay, so what you're telling me is that your very first Zeta is a character that sucks.
No, it wasn't
literally, literally sucks. Like that's his job.
Oh, well, yes.
Yeah. How appropriate. Okay, anyway, let's move on to the next one. Guys. Spoilers. We need to talk it. Spoilers, of course. You've been warned. You know the drill. We're going to talk about Mando, and of course, if you're not sure yet, we're going to be talking about it, and of course, there are spoilers. So if you haven't seen it yet, don't watch this bit. Come back to it later on. But there will be spoilers, and you've been warned enough, so that's on you. If you haven't seen it and you get caught out by now, there are spoilers, and that's your fault. Just saying, straight up. All right, let's dive straight into it. Where do we start? We've got our boy Mando sitting back on a chair, just kicking back, having a holiday. He's had a rough run at it. We got Baby Yoda sitting there just playing with the frogs, doing what Baby Yoda does best. Strange finish overall. I'm not sure about. I like IG-11 back. That's pretty cool. Love that. Big fan of that. That's really cool. What's the real takeoffs? I mean, Mandalore's obviously back in Mandalorian control again. I still think Moff Gideon's kicking around. I think it was a clone. I think that I think that the Moff Gideon that blew up as a clone. There was a few rumors going around, of course, for those that haven't seen it yet, that Moff Gideon in the previous episodes had a mustache. That particular one did not, and so did the ones, of course, in the cloning tubes. So yeah, certainly they didn't have mustaches. So I'm going to say Moff Gideon's still kicking around. He's just very, very clever and threw the other clones at it, probably as a test. So we'll have to wait and see how that all plays out. But I think that we're definitely going to see Moff Gideon back again. Bo-Katan, badass. Loved it. It was cool. Flying in a battle, holding the Darksaber, mate. That certainly was pretty badass to look at. That got me pretty pumped up, not going to lie. But, Baby Yoda just smashing people. Just, doing flips and going crazy, taking on Praetorian guards, doing what? Just going berserk. It was great. But what are your stands out, Ram, on that particular episode, mate? But it was a strange ending. I reckon,
As much as I want to enjoy The Mandalorian season 3, it was kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
That episode had a phenomenal battle sequence. And then when you kind of break it down, it's just things that didn't make sense. Praetorian guards, once again, are trash.
They went from hero to zero really quickly.
Hero to zero in less than an episode, because their battle sequence. Yeah, they're getting a little bit of damage on Mando, and then it just looks like it's a choreography battle. It's just, hey, look at my dance moves, dance revolution. Yeah, it's just they didn't really do anything, and then plot armor was king in that part.
Yeah.
I do agree with Moff Gideon. I don't think he's dead.
No.
Typically, they like to do like a climactic death, and like Palpatine falls down and explodes, and even though that wasn't somehow Palpatine returned, that was the end of him at that part. Gideon just bursting into flames, and armor can be resistant to flames, and yes, I know that's a lot of flames. I don't think he's gone. I don't like the whole thing with the jetpacks. Like, it was cool. It was cool seeing Axelos go right up into space with his jetpack, but then it counters. What was it, like episode 3 or 4, when they're flying and trying to save that guy's son, and they can't fly a few miles down the road
out of fuel,
but they can fly vertically through the planet in an atmosphere.
Inconsistencies.
A lot of inconsistencies.
Yeah, I get it. One
Darksaber getting destroyed.
Yeah, of course. Oh, look, that's going to be remade.
I thought they'll make another one.
Yeah, they're going to remake. They're either going to remake it, or we saw, of course, Baby Yoda and the Mythosaur connect. Of course, so there's still the chance, of course, that they may actually make it Baby Yoda size. That could be cool. Yeah. That would be pretty amazing if that eventuates at some point. But hey, look, I think we both agree that Moff Gideon or Giancarlo Esposito likes being blown up. I think that's for anyone that's watched Breaking Bad and now this, he just loves a good old explosion. I'm just saying, no spoilers, but he does love a good old explosion. So. Yeah,
Giancarlo Esposito is awesome.
Oh, he's so good. He's just a perfect villain, isn't he? Like,
he's so good at it.
He would be, if Star Wars was around, he'd be like the ultimate Bond villain. How he hasn't been actually considered as a Bond villain yet in the Bond movies would be crazy, because he would be so good at that too.
Cold and calculating.
Oh, it's just magnificent. It really is. But the ultimate bad guy. That's what you want. You want the ultimate bad guy, and how could they seriously blow him up now after all of that awesome work to get him as evil as he is up to this point? Like I said, I don't think he's actually dead. I think it's his clone.
Yeah. And I don't know, it's just, I think some people complained this season about, it's the Mandalorian, but it's not about the Mandalorian. It's about Bo-Katan. And I mean, I think that was kind of on purpose, right?
I'm okay about that. I mean, I think that we're going to have a whole season. We're going to have a whole season, I reckon, next season of just Mando getting back to just, smashing bounties, taking people on, all these little mini adventures along the way. Like, I mean, I think there's time for that. I think that there's certainly a lot of times along the way to this point.
They unfortunately had a huge issue this season that they had to deal with, right? It's, the first season was all about saving Grogu and getting him to getting to his people.
Yeah.
And then obviously that mission continued into season 2 when they actually achieved that and gave him over to Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
And then you have Book of Boba / Mando season 2.5.
Yeah.
And then you come into season 3 and you kind of just have nowhere to go. So they kind of had to dive in and do something crazy to get Mando back at his roots now, which hopefully fixes a lot of the issues that were in season 3.
Agree.
And they're back on,
Spot on.
bounty hunting trip. Yeah.
Absolutely. Spot on. So
I would like to see him get a Razor Crest though, because there's not much bounty hunting he can do.
Yeah.
in
I think it's only a matter of time before he gets a Razor Crest back. I think he's had his toy shit. I mean, use both. Why not both? Because he can. I mean,
and one's awesome. Great nostalgia effect. Love it.
He's got a new car park.
I want a Razor Crest.
He's got a new car park with a cabin now. So just set up a bit of a garage, get some toys, load them up. Love it. That'd be cool. So we'll see how it goes. Anyway. We'll have to look forward, of course, to next season, which we'll be waiting for quite some time. But I think that we love our boy Mando. We want him to do well. We want the show to be successful. And, I think that it's certainly been, whilst something we didn't expect, I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad thing. So we'll see how it all plays out later on. But I definitely want Moff Gideon back. I don't care. Just bring him back.
I think we'll see some more of it in Ahsoka for sure.
Yeah, I think so too. Guys, let us know in the comments below what you guys think. Is there anything that we didn't cover today? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Until then, of course, please hit the follow button, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Put your comments in, thumbs up, chuck some emojis in there, whatever you like. Have some fun with it. But we'll see you again pretty soon. We're going to go to the other video, of course, with Ram. The link will be below. We'll go and do that one now. We'll see you real soon, guys. Have a good week. Have fun. Bye.